Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast Cultivating a New Generation. We are in episode 12. We are beginning February month, which is the month of love. We know that. And for that, we are going to open this month with a very interesting topic with Dr. Jim Farish, which is Conscious Loving, Holistic Model of Love. That is the title of our episode. And I'm going to briefly introduce Jean, and then we are going to move on to the topic of love. So, Jean Faris is PhD, CRC, and life care coach, educator, founder, and CEO of Life Care Wellness, PIP for Angels, is an award-winning transformational author and inducted into Experts Insight best-selling authors international organization. She has been featured in Publish Magazine, Speaks of Inspiration, and Book Math magazines. As an authentic messenger and guest author, she has published articles in Life Sparks magazine, Sparks of Inspiration, and Ex Libris. Her 6 month tenure in Malaysia was a pivotal juncture in her transformational journey. Immersion in an Oriental culture awakened her to the true essence of life and expanded her creative talents as she volunteered at REACH, Resource Educational Association for Children with Autism, traveled to remote villages and indigenous communities, and learned more about humanitarian service. So we have a real expert on love and caring issues. So we are going to welcome Dr. Jim Farish. Thank you very much for being here and enlightening this podcast.
Well, thank you so much, David. You are just an inspiration, and I am so delighted to join you today on this topic that is really dear to my heart.
I know that's why I picked you because it is specific for you. Yes. So let's begin with some questions to start having a very profound discussion about love. So tell me about yourself and what inspired your work.
Well, that's a great question, and thanks for asking me that question. Of course, you know I am the World Talk Radio show for Love Light for Voice America, and it is designed to inspire and cultivate a lifestyle of love with you. You've been an amazing guest on my show, along with guests from around the world, to uplift humanity and share the message of love and inspire people and to really bring them up to the level of higher consciousness. And we know that the highest level of consciousness is the vibration of love. And so I am a certified rehabilitation counselor, and I combine my educational background, and you indicated my training. I have the PhD in rehabilitation and my master's in rehab counseling and my bachelor's in psychology. And I spent over a decade working with persons transitioning from prison to the community as a rehab counselor practitioner, and also as in my career as an administrator and professor in higher education. I trained students to become professional rehab counselors. So my whole life's work has been devoted to really bettering society and bettering myself and providing training for the students to go out and help others in the community. And I offer of course online classes through Millsaps Community Enrichment Program, and one of those that I love is the Spirit of Love class.
Yeah, actually, all that you are narrating is just inspiring and taking care of people. I think it's one of the most gratifying things that we can do to cultivate that love and to vibrate in a different level. So it's just makes sense.
David, one good thing to share is that, and you probably know this also, is that as we teach, we learn.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're never at that epitome of, well, I've arrived or I've accomplished this or whatever, because we're always striving to becoming, as Maslow said, in terms of the self-actualization and moving forward. So as I teach, I learn more. And we know that practicing and embodying love is a moment by moment practice.
Yeah, exactly. That's also a very good clarifying thing, because many people think that love is just experience in another person, or
Yes,
giving or given by another
yes,
person. And
yes,
love is what we are made of. And
yes,
we have to turn it on
yes.
every kind of thing that we do. So it is
Uh,
just inside of us, no?
yes. Everything we do must be done in the spirit of love. That's my philosophy.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why the second question is, what is your philosophy about life?
Well, I love that question, and there's a relevant quote that I just love, and you'll see me use it over and over. It's by Henry Drummond, and I'll tell you more about my connection with Henry Drummond, this 18th century Scottishman. But the quote is, "You will find as you look upon your life that the moments when you really lived are the moments when you've done things in the spirit of love." I just love that quote. And love is really the solution to all human problems. But it is our greatest challenge. And as Leo Buscaglia quotes, to give love, one must possess love.
Yeah.
So love really, it means to love others, we have to love ourselves. And in essence, what drives my life and my mission is to live an altruistic and heart centered life anchored in love and to flourish and master, the love in my daily life. And this means living by higher ideals, which is the holistic model of love through daily practice to embody love and also to sustain an attitude of gratitude. So in my work through teaching, writing, speaking, I learn and I grow with the hope that this will create a ripple effect. Each one, reach one, teach one to empower not only myself, but others with love.
Yeah. I love that quote about, you cannot give what you don't have. So
Exactly.
if we don't begin to understand that love has to be ignited within us, and we have to fill ourselves with love, then it is complicated. And of course that it, it's frustrating for
Yes.
many people to look for love outside. If you don't have it, it's difficult. It's not going to happen that way. It's like wanting to lose weight
Yes. Yes.
without doing anything, no?
Yes.
Just
Yes.
like wishing it. So
Yes.
you have to do something so that you can start losing weight. The same with love. You have to love yourself, and you have to begin with you so that you can have love in other places, no?
That is so important. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation.
Yeah. Now, question number three that I have for you is, what drives your mission?
Well, what drives my mission really is this philosophy about love, to combine all of my skills that I've used over, and not only skills, but my life challenges and life experiences, and combine them because it really inspired me and it changed my meaning of love, right? Because I was like everyone else, driven by these out external influences and not really having a grasp on what love really is. And of course, through the course of my life and through teaching, I always had a curiosity and I always felt like something, there was more to life, something was missing. And I asked myself existential questions, even as I taught classes to students and I would pose questions to them. And they also inspired me to really go deeper. And so in my quest for learning more and yearning, looking for something more, something that would give me greater satisfaction beyond just the external image of the personality self or the disillusions of external pleasures in terms of the material gains. I kept searching for something deeper with more curiosity and knowing that it was more to life than just the illusions of what we see as reality in society. I dug deeper, and I'm grateful that I really have found some answers here that I will share in our subsequent questions and conversation.
Thank you. And I love that saying about not being just driven by what we perceive, because our senses can sometimes give us a false image of what is
Yes,
really happening. And
yes,
right now, I think this is the most challenging situation. We are so very distracted by this environmental thing that is
yes,
happening all around
yes,
the world. No one
yes,
is
yes,
out from the equation. And that's something that for me is good, because it is
yes,
awakening many people
yes,
to see that we
yes.
are in the same boat, to see that
Mhm.
if we concentrate our energy and if we focus on the positive things that we have inside of us and start looking within, we are not going to be distracted by anything. So
Yes,
this is just a test. This is just something that probably is happening so that we can pick up another level and go higher from just reacting from that experience, no?
David, you are so right. I think we're in this stage of evolution to raise our vibration, and instead of really going outside looking at all these external things, even though we have to be aware, it is an opportunity for us to go deeper. And I think the crux is really self-love and self-care. And as we radiate self-love and self-care, we change the conditions around us. We change our interaction with ourselves as well as with others, and we change the whole vibration. So each one, reach one, teach one. Whatever we do, make a change if we're at that higher vibration of love.
Yeah, exactly. A change reaction and
Mm.
curiosity. That's one word that pick up my mind,
Yes,
because if you are not curious about what is happening for you,
yes,
it is not going to take you
yes,
to
yes.
learning anything. So if you are curious about how the new device works, or how the financial status is,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
why you are not curious about
Yes,
yourself? No,
yes.
we have to begin again with ourselves. Those are the biggest lessons, I think, from these years that we are living and this new stage, because I think that we are already in a new age. We are
Mm-hmm,
not longer in the stage where we were reactive. And
mm-hmm.
right now we have to join forces and we have to help each other to really awaken more people, and that's about awakening, being
Yes.
curious, no?
One thing you mentioned, of course, I'm having been a professor in higher education, I was always into, authenticity, self inquiry, self discovery, self reflection, self introspection. And so I think that now we have to ask some hard questions that force us to go inward.
Yeah,
And only through self reflection and self introspection and self inquiry can we ask those hard questions and become more authentic.
yeah, exactly, I totally agree with that. Now, what challenges have you faced that transformed your life?
Oh, I love this question. And I am delighted to share that. And as I shared earlier, I had that sense of curiosity. And after reaching milestones in my life, I kept asking, hey, it has to be more to life than this, And I had a longing and yearning. And I think what I was yearning for was coming home to my true self. I had this external image, the professor, all these things, the material trappings of whatever, but I kept saying it has to be more. I was a high achiever and a perfectionist, but under the veil of perfectionism was unworthiness. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Love was transactional. It was based on my perceived worthiness to receive it. And I was an overgiver. I was a people pleaser. And I sacrificed myself at my own expense to really please others and help others to the point where I was depleted. And I was really giving from a half filled cup and sometimes an empty cup.
Yeah.
And what happened, these events catapulted me into the dark night of the soul.
Mm.
And during that challenging quest, uh, challenging spiritual experience, I was digging deeper and I surrendered myself. And as a result of that, through divine grace, I was given this fantastic opportunity to spend 6 months in Malaysia for a work opportunity. But to no avail, I came home to myself as a result of being in this peaceful, tropical, loving environment with in the communal spirit of these people, and communicating with priests and masters and volunteering at the Children's Artistic Center, Lions Reach Artistic Center, with children that opened my heart and brought me great joy. So immersed in love, I remember I knew that things were changing. I was changing inside out. And at the end of my journey, I asked the question to myself. I asked what was the real purpose of my journey? A deep question that I asked my spirit, and it was revealed to me that it was all about love.
Mm.
That was kind of the beginning of the transformation of my life and my plight to continue my journey to embody love and practice love and to share it and teach it for the good of myself and the good of humanity.
Yeah. Beautiful. And as you mentioned, this search of something that
Yeah.
many people have felt is that kind of itching sensation
Yes.
you have in your
Yes.
body that
Yes.
this is not it. I am not
Yes.
even at half tank.
Yes.
Give a lot more. I can do a lot more. And it doesn't have to be just about gathering stuff. It has to be about
Exactly.
something else. Some,
Exactly.
something similar happened to me in a journey also. When,
Okay.
when I was sent to Korea from a company, I experienced the culture. I experienced
Yeah.
the people. I really
Mm.
like traveling. That's why,
Yeah.
because you really connect with other cultures, with
Exactly.
other thinking, and you
Mm-hmm.
discover yourself in that
Mm-hmm.
journey.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
discover many things, and those are the moments that you save, and you know, as you mentioned, inside something is changing. You are not the same, and you come back from those trips, and you are not the same. Although it might happen in some time more that you will shift to what you want, but you already have that ingredient,
Yes.
that
Yes.
spark. Let's say it.
Yes. David, sharing about your experience and career, the thing about it is that travel opens us up.
Yeah.
Travels releases fear, because if you have to integrate with other cultures, or adapt to a certain culture, or adapt to the food, or adapt to being with a variety of different people, different ethnicities, religions, or whatever. To me, what it did to me, it opened me up, and it released the fear.
Exactly.
And travel is just awesome.
And it is very good that analogy, because when we open up with
Hmm.
love, we break the fear.
Yeah, yeah.
We break free, and we dissolve the fear,
Hmm.
and we just open to learning and to adapting.
Hmm. But David, this is what is interesting, that we're not aware. It's like when you're living in the box,
Yeah.
you don't even see yourself, you know, outside the box. When I was in Malaysia, I stepped outside of my comfort zone and experienced life on a different level. But when I came back, I saw where I had been stuck. I saw where I was living in a box, and nothing was the same after that.
Yeah, yeah. I can
Mhm.
relate to that because
You know,
it's like you are in the plane, no, and you can see many things.
exactly, exactly.
So, but you gotta go so that you can open, and
Yes.
those are the moments that we are also being driven to look for. And meaning to attach that question to the next one is, what is your meaning of love?
Oh, I love this question. This is my favorite question. And of course, love, we know, is the greatest and largest experience of our lives. It's the language of our souls, right? Love is the light that shines in our heart. Love is the path to oneness. Love is the foundation of inner peace, and love is the lamp that guides us forward. So, as you stated earlier, it's not just an enthusiastic emotion or an attachment to a love object. It is an attitude and it's an orientation that determines how we relate to ourselves and the world. So, what shapes our perceptions and views about love are our families, institutions, society, culture, and it becomes a learned phenomenon. And that influences our beliefs and our values. And unfortunately, many are mired in fear. And so, therefore, we become unaligned with the truth of who we really are. And whether it is unworthiness, feeling undeserving, not good enough, or believing that, as I once did, that love is transactional based upon worthiness to receive it, we become unloving and unlovable, which is the lowest vibration.
Yeah,
Low vibrational energy. So our challenge is to raise our consciousness to the vibration of love because it is our divine birthright. So how do we reclaim our power? How do we anchor in love? And here I like to just share my meaning of love, which is really uh, connected to Henry Drummond's analysis of the spectrum of love. He was an 18th century noble Scottish professor, scientist, author, evangelist, and world traveler. He analyzed the spectrum of love that includes 9 ingredients. And those ingredients are patience, kindness, humility, courtesy, generosity, unselfishness, good temper, guilelessness, and sincerity. And he contends that all of these ingredients are necessary and they encompass love. Just like colors of the rainbow, not one can be missing. And this is what I call the holistic model of love that I adopt in my daily life and in my teaching. And of course, I just published an ebook on living in love, character, and philosophy of Henry Drummond, who was exemplary in the practice of love. So let's examine the application of what I call this recipe of holistic love. We have to love ourselves enough to be patient,
yeah,
patient with ourselves, to be calm and not in a hurry. What happens when we're not? I know when I'm not patient, I'm more irritable, I push forward, I don't give myself time, and I make tons of mistakes. And I recognize it. I can feel it in my body when I'm not being patient. And I'm like, okay, you got to, calm down and get yourself back center because life has its own, challenges. Also, let's look at kindness. We have to love ourselves enough to treat ourselves with kindness, consideration, gentleness, and with respect. Let's look at generosity. We have to be giving to ourselves. Remember when I talked about how I catapulted into the dark night of the soul? I was generous to everyone but myself.
mhm,
So we have to be generous and giving to ourselves, right? Humility. Let's look at that virtue or that quality of love. To be humble, not puffed up with ego, feeling all important. When we are humble, we are in tune to our divine guidance and our intuitive voice. If we're in ego, we know everything. So humility is a quality of love. Courteous, let's look at the ingredient of courteous, to be polite to ourselves. That means I have to be consciously aware of how I'm treating myself, to be courteous to me. Unselfish, to love all of me, who I am, when I'm sad and happy, when I've not done the right thing, when I've do the right thing or made the bad choice. I have to embrace all of me, accept myself, and love me fully. Let's look at good temper. Good temper is not to be provoked or reactive or ill tempered and engage in low vibrational emotions like jealousy, anger, and self righteousness. Then we look at guilelessness. That's being graceful and encouraging ourselves and refraining from evil thoughts. You know, sometimes we have these self defeating negative thoughts about ourselves that are evil thoughts. So we have to refrain from that because that's not loving. And the last ingredient is sincerity, to accept what is real and true and become authentic. And that is divine love that teach us how to honor and love ourselves. And David, the more we love ourselves and practice these ingredients, we can properly love others. And I do have some other elements of self-care. I can address those later, which is all part of this holistic element aspect of well-being. If you'd like for me to address those now briefly, we're looking at
Yes.
just nurturing ourselves intellectually, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and socially
Yeah.
to really experience love through this holistic wellness of taking care of ourselves. Love is taking care of ourselves. So if we look at intellectual wellness, reading for fun, trying something new, uh, uh, seeing things from a different vantage point, reading or listening to things that are uplifting, like your podcast here and the messages that you share daily, tapping into our creativity. You know, getting in tune to creative arts can change our vibration as well. And to participate in classes or workshops for now online. Let's look at emotional wellness, to be optimistic,
Yeah.
to spend time with supportive people, positive people, engage in, as we said earlier, self inquiry and behaviors that are uplifting, that spark attitude changes, that give us a new outlook, and refrain from being self judgmental and self critical. Let's look at physical wellness. That's respecting our bodies, right? If I love myself, I'm going to take care of my body, right?
Right.
Like I'm an avid yoga person. But as a result of the COVID situation, the classes are down, and I'm like at home trying to engage in my yoga because I know when I don't, I don't feel so good. So when we look at physical wellness, our diet, exercise, and proper rest, right?
Right.
And then, of course, spiritual wellness. What gives you meaning and a sense of purpose that increases your capacity to be loving and compassionate? And this means what prayer, meditation, stillness, whatever practices you have that connect you to your higher self. And then the last one is social wellness, taking a closer look at who we surround ourselves with. Do we have supportive people around us? You know, who's in our social sphere? Do we set healthy boundaries? Are we in harmony with ourselves and have an equal give take relationship? You know, as I said, I was giving more, but I wasn't receiving. So now I'm more cognizant of this, the give and take, the equilibrium and the appreciation for that. Are we over giving, people pleasing, engaging in low vibrational energy that attracts more of the same? So, in essence, David, we're saying self love and self care are essential to living wholeheartedly, enhancing our overall well being and raising our consciousness to the vibration of love.
Yeah. Well, that was really, really amazing. It is the recipe for the whole year, that you can just apply each one every month, let's say, so that people don't get like overwhelmed with too much. no?
Mhm.
And I really believe that what you mentioned about self-love and self-care, it is has been said over and over in all my transmissions, in all the things that I try to give people, is
Mhm.
you have to start with
Yes.
yourself. You
Yes.
have to start analyzing how you speak to yourself,
Yes.
how you think of
Yes.
yourself, how
Yes.
you accept your body
Yes.
in all the stages, as you say, when you wake up, when you are not uh, doing anything, when you are just resting, and
Yes.
give yourself those treats, those
Yes.
um, self-care
Yes.
measures. And self-care and self-love doesn't mean what many people has believed over the past decades, that is buying things, that is
Yes.
just
Yes.
experiencing the marketing
Yes.
of love that is
Yes.
that has driven off completely, and also experiencing self-care with buying things to make
Yes.
you feel good about
Yeah, it's
themselves.
those addictions, almost like addictive behaviors that we get into, shopping, internet, or whatever these external things that we think we'll get, but they're only temporary pleasures.
Yeah, exactly. And they are made to make you addictive, to give you those rush
Mhm.
of dopamine.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you can also design with all these new strategies that Gene is giving us, that those dopamine hits with each of those bullets of wisdom that are within the ingredients of love. I really, really love that. I think I'm gonna ask you to post them or to give them to
I
me so
will.
you can
I
post,
will.
and I just can send one every month, so
Yes.
people can absorb them the information and practice, 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 practice. Remember that we are students, we are always students, and if it doesn't come out at the first one, it will come in the next. So don't be hard on yourself. That is also the message of the ingredients of love. No, be courteous with you.
Mhm. May I bring up one point that some people misconceive love, self love, as being selfish. And as I taught my class, I said, no, it's not being selfish. They're like, well, I give to my kids, I do this, and I'm a good person. I said, yes, but you have to give to yourself. You have to give from a full cup. And so we have to, like you say, this can seem overwhelming, but it requires discipline, commitment, and practice literally every moment.
Yeah.
And of course, in my book, Living in the Spirit of Love, A Natural State of Being, that I just published, it really outlines those ingredients and even, self introspective questions to really, implement this in your life with action plans.
Yeah, so that really sounds a very, very good journal, so that people can really
Mhm.
practice
Mhm.
slowly and
Mhm.
at their own pace, giving love for themselves. And just try this. Let me just give you an option so that you can apply these ingredients. What about if, while you plan your day or while you envision your day, you just save 5 or 10 minutes for something that represents one of these ingredients of love? Just one, pick one,
Yes,
and
yes,
choose 10 minutes.
yes,
10 minutes each.
yes,
It's a
yes,
discipline, it's a
yes,
requirement, but you
yes,
gotta have 10 minutes.
yes.
If you don't have 10 minutes, we have to begin with the concept
Right,
of what are you doing with the time. So,
exactly.
but I believe that if you are listening to this podcast and if you are in this community, you will find 10 minutes to practice
Mhm.
love for you. That's the challenge of February.
Oh, I love that because it changes your vibration and the awareness. See, by knowing these ingredients, it makes it you have to be more aware.
Exactly.
That these are ingredients of love, and if I practice patience with myself, I'm being loving to myself. And I know one day I was kind of like rushing around, and I was trying to post something on my website, and I had, a question posed to the person who was helping me, and I was getting impatient. And I'm like, okay, you got to slow down. You're being impatient. And I changed my vibration. And I started, communicating with the person. I said, well, how is your day? How are you doing? And I, just started asking, just questions to the person about how they were. And then, as I really practiced being patient and settling down, this person said, wow, you're so patient.
Yeah.
I was like, gosh, you called it out. And so it was phenomenal.
Yeah, because you really vibrated so much that you transpire that emotion to that person.
I chose it. I chose to what? Raise my vibration. I
Yeah.
chose it's a choice. You talk about that a lot in your work.
Decision.
We have to choose.
Yeah, exactly. It's your decision. It's no one else's, and we can do it. So, what are the strategies besides all these that are a lot that you can recommend to help others? Give me
well,
one,
mhm.
one tip maybe so that people can start applying themselves.
Well, first of all, I think we have to practice this. First of all, we have to be aware.
Exactly.
We are with ourselves all day long. Nobody is going to take care of you like you.
Yeah.
And some people blame others. Well, my husband, my friend, I'm like, hey, it's your responsibility to take care of yourself. And as you take care of yourself, it changes the vibrational energy around you. And then you know what? Vicariously, others start doing the same, right? So
Right.
it's very powerful because what? You're reflecting what you are exuding, which is love. And I know when I taught the class, one of my students said, well, I noticed when I practiced this, it really shifted. Everything around me started changing, my families. And I was like, hey, that's what it's about. So, in essence, we have to be aware, we have to practice. As you said, choose a quality every day, a virtue, and then sit with it, see how it makes you feel. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What I'm saying is get in that vibration of those ingredients. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What does generosity really feel like? What does it really mean to me? What does it feel like so that I can recognize it? And so, therefore, we have to be committed with the desire to change our lives and to change our vibration by practicing these ingredients of love. I have a life pledge that I want to offer. I am whole. I trust my inner guidance. I love myself no matter what. I honor myself. I am creating the best possible life I can create. I'm the best version of myself in every moment. And I'm grateful for the abundance of life. That's high vibrational living.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, really. And I really resonate with that example that you gave about not demanding of outside or from
Yes,
other people
yes,
what we want for us.
yes,
So, and I really tune in with that concept because whenever you are with your partner, with
mm-hmm,
your wife, with your husband,
mm-hmm,
and they are not demanding from you,
yes,
you by nature are going to give and
yes,
to do more
yes,
because
yes,
you're not being asked for or demanded for, or it's not an obligation.
yes.
It has to be born from you. No?
Wouldn't you agree that that breeds resentment? If someone is looking for me to just do this or make you feel good, after a while it's going to breed anger and resentment, right?
Yeah,
And you can't, again, like you said, you can't give from an empty cup or half empty cup.
exactly. Yes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
perfect. We are really, really powerful in this Of-
I love your work too, David. You are just awesome.
Thank you. What resources do you have that are helpful for people?
Well, actually, I have the Voice America World Talk Radio Empowerment Show that's live every Friday. And of course, people can tune in on demand and listen to inspiring messages and empowering messages to cultivate a lifestyle of love in your life and shift your vibration, raise your vibration to the consciousness of love. Love light, living in the spirit of love is the mission. And they can also tune into your shows. You've been on my show several times.
Yeah.
I have visit the blog page of my website because I post love practice exercises weekly and I advertise them on my show at www.jeanfarishjourney.com. I have a Facebook page, the Love Cocktail Minute, Relax, Refresh, Renew, with daily inspirational and empowering messages to lift you up and keep you in that vibration of love. The Facebook community, which David, are, you post daily, and I love your videos. The Lovers Lane Feel Good Now community.
Thank
And of course, I have a plethora of books. Uh, the most recent, I have Living in the Spirit of Love, Our Natural State of Being, that highlights those ingredients with actual, practices and help you become more authentic with yourself. And the one I've just published, which is Living in Love, Character and Philosophy of Henry Drummond, and my Love Light Reflection Journal. I have others as well, but I do have an author central page on my Amazon.com for listeners or to really view my books or access my books as well. And I publish regularly articles in Savannah East. The most recent was New Beginnings, New Chapter.
you.
So,
So there's plenty of information, plenty of things, and they are all accessible for
mhm,
people. So
mhm.
you can just dive in these books and wisdom of Jean, so that you can cultivate and vibrate to a higher level in terms of love, of course, and self-care. And finally, to close and to round up this topic, there's two questions I would like to ask you. How is love right now influencing the consciousness of the individual, and how the individual or the people, the person, can impact the society?
Well, love is our natural state of being. And unfortunately, I look at it as like we all have this diamond inside of us that's been covered with all kinds of beliefs and negativity. And so we have to kind of resurrect that light within. We all have it, but we have to be consciously aware to raise our vibration. We've been mired with these faulty beliefs and self-defeating attitudes and external forces that really not about love and lower our vibration. So it's our responsibility to open our hearts and shine our own love light. And to do that, we have to have the knowledge, the information, the awareness, the commitment, and discipline to practice. And as we practice, uh, what did I say earlier? Each one, reach one, teach one.
Yeah,
We radiate love and we can change the vibration, step by step, little by little, and hopefully change the world.
yeah, we can by each one teach one.
Yes,
It.
yes,
And I really, really believe that also nature is here for us.
yes,
Give us that power when we feel that it's too much, when
yes,
we can feel that there's a lot of noise.
yes,
Just try, go out and
yes,
connect with nature, because
yes,
nature is the source of love also. So whenever
yes,
you feel depleted, whenever you feel drained, whenever you feel like you are coming to the negative issues,
yes,
just breathe, take a walk outside,
mhm,
connect with uh, anything in nature, and raise your vibration again, so that you can really feel that it is inside of you. And sometimes you just need a little help, and it is not bad to ask for help, but just become aware that it is within you and it is available, and it is a choice that you have to take each moment and each day. you know.
I love that because that's tapping into the whole aspect of wellness. And nature is gives us healing power. It shows us harmony. I have my favorite places, my sacred spaces in my own environment. And I love going to the lake, or when I know that I need that time to refresh and renew. Nature is the answer for me.
Also,
Mhm.
the vibration of love is
Yes.
60 to 200 times more powerful. That has
Yes.
been measured by the HeartMath Institute and all of those guys that measure the science of love, of resonating the positive emotions such as appreciation and gratitude. Also,
Mhm.
one tip is that whenever you feel down, just be grateful for one
Yes.
thing in that
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
In the same
Yes.
moment that you are feeling angry or desperate or sad,
Mhm.
be grateful for one thing. And
Mhm.
I assure you that you will shift the vibration.
Very well said. We cannot experience love and fear at the same time.
Exactly. They
So
are
choose love.
exactly. And finally, what can we do to stimulate more love in others?
Well, I think again, we have to love ourselves, and the more that we love ourselves, we can properly love others. And as I indicated, vicariously, other people are learning from us. They'll say, "Wow, you're so calm. You're not all tense. What are you doing?" And so what happens, you never know how people are observing you.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, "Wow, I want to be calm. I'm all out of sorts. And what are you doing?" So what happens is that even if you're in an environment where there's negativity and you remain what? Calm, you remain in the high vibration of love, people are going to be curious. You're not going to be triggered, right? Because some people get triggered, all right? If you're negative and you trigger me, I'm going to be negative. So if you're not being triggered, right, and you remain in the high vibration of love, then others can't be negative around. It's not going to work because you're not going to be triggered by others. So what happens vicariously and through observation, people are learning by observing you. And if you exude love, it's going to what? Vibrate. And then people may have a lot of questions about what are you doing, because I'm having health issues. I'm all out of sorts. How are you doing that? And then that, you know, opens the door for sharing uh, how to raise your vibration to love.
Beautifully expressed. Yes, this is the power of the positive emotions of love. That when we practice with
Mhm,
example, when we
mhm.
do it from the moment, a moment with each other, we really can exude love and
Yes.
create that feel that is going to transmit to other people and engage them in the same behavior. So it is,
And David, the litmus test is, how are you feeling?
yeah.
Did this change your vibration, how you feel, your outlook? That's the litmus test.
Mm,
And if you want to do better, be better for yourself, and keep your cup filled, work on yourself and be committed to love.
yeah. Thank you, Jean. I really, really appreciate this episode. It's going to be a very, very igniting episode for the whole month and for the whole year because we already launched the challenge of one ingredient each
Yes,
of the months. We
yes,
also gave you a lot of tools to
yes,
where to connect with Jean and with all the teachings of love. And we have two powerful shows that can give you a lot of wisdom in terms of self care, self love, and everything that you need. So,
yes,
thank you
yes.
for your attention. Thank you, Jim, for being here. You really lighten up my day.
And you light up mine. Thank you for inviting me. I am always inspired by your work on consciousness and well being. And, I always look forward to hear, all right, what does he have to say today? Because you post diligently on, I know the Lovers Lane Feel Good Now community, because that's what it's about, to feel good now. So I'm always inspired by you. And thanks so much for, doing this for the world, to raise consciousness and to teach people how to love more and love better. And love is the highest ideal of life. And I just like to say, live in the spirit of love.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you. And we will listen to each other next
Yes.
chapter, next episode. Bye.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye.